You are listening to the Namibian's audio recording.
For one single reason, to change. But to change in what direction? Before we go any further, we must remember that every single generation has got factors that contribute to their rise, just as much as this young lady has said it. To their rise to new horizons, to rise up to defeat the evils amongst them, the evils in their society. It is not your ethnic origin. It's not your tribe, not your mother, not your father, that defines who you become, that defines your political convictions, the principles that you believe. It is the people around you that molds you and shape you into the beliefs that will drive you one day to be able to fight and to struggle for a betterment of the Lord of your people. It's not what you studied at university, it's not the number of degrees that you have that makes you a patriot. It is the love of your people. It is the love of your country. It is the belief that one day you will emerge free from oppression, free from suppression and denial, and understanding your own heritage. We are all the seeds of those who came before us. We are the seeds to protect what is bequeathed to us. We are those who came from the roots of our traditional leaders, the Fumo, the Hompas, Nyangane. We are the seeds of the people from Mulema Wamasubia, Mulema Wamafwe. We are the people of the Hompas of Bunza, the Hompas of the Kongwari. We are the people of the seeds of the Kwanilwas, the captains. We are the seeds of Hermanus van Wyk. You are the children that once traveled during the Dorp trekkers and established yourself in the Republic of Appingtonia with the capital of Grootfontein. You are the seeds of that past. But before you think about reconciliation, before you think about you being Namibian, you must acknowledge your origins. Only when you acknowledge your origin will you be able to fight, to unite, and to march forward to a new horizon, a new future. We did not only come from those. We came from Maharero, Kahimema. We came from Hendrik Verboek Anse, the third captain of the Orlams. We came from Maharero, we came from Ipumbuya Shilongo, Nehale Jampingana. Those are the people that seeded this nation. With those, they left Namibia. That is all we have. That is the land we are not prepared to sell. That is the land that we are called upon to defend. We, as citizens of this land, remember the battles in the past. There are those that say that we don't need land. The battle was all about land. Those men and women that left this country to fight for it went to fight only for three things: the land, our people, and our resources. None went to fight for a political party. None left this country, many of them belonging to a political party. They went to fight. And I want you to take a moment, Place yourself in the mind of a dying freedom fighter. What was his last wishes? For Namibia to be free and its people to be exploited and subjugated by foreign forces? Was that his wish? Is that why he sacrificed or she sacrificed her life? Put yourself in the mind of a political prisoner whose hands are tied on chains and tortured. What gave him the courage to sustain and to endure the torture? Is it because he wanted to come back and suffer once more and his people live in so-called informal settlement? Put yourself in the life of a conscripted soldier who had no choice but forced to go and fight against his own brothers. What Namibia did he want to create? Think about those ones who have been dragged in order to participate in a war of maintaining what was not theirs. Yes, we all came from somewhere. We all have intentions when we march, but what is it that drives you? What is it that brought you here? Why did you leave everything else that you were looking after in the far past? We've had many people. Think about the lives of those who represented us at the United Nations. Yes, including Comrade Hage Geingob, including late Comrade Theo Ben-Kurida, including the young men, Peter Kachabibi. All of them, when they left this country, they were only 22, 23 years old. Each generation has got the factors that defines how and when they are going to struggle and fight for their future. What is it then that drives human beings that seeks justice to unite? What is that driven you to travel that many distances to come to the capital of these beautiful 11 hills? To try and find an answer to the current predicament of our people. What is it that holds us together? Is it the injustice that is being inflicted against our people? Is it the pain that our people feel, as it was elaborated in the poem by this young lady? Is it the pain that the fishermen for the past 5 years were asking just one question, justice? And yet, they were asking from the very people who were inflicting the pain to them. What solution could they possibly have? Why are we here today when we thought that last year, as we participated in the independent candidates presidency, that we'll see the victory? It was there. But then, in violation of the supreme law of our land, the Constitution, the separation of powers, we found that our judicial system violated the very Constitution that created them, and considered that injustice, unconstitutionality can become constitutional. We are now lumbered with an unconstitutional president, an unconstitutional term of office. Our journey began a long time ago. Our determination never lowered. In every battle that you go into war for, it's not the best first battle that wins the war. There will be skirmishes. That was but one of the skirmishes that defined how we will march forward from then onwards. As we come together, we have spent much time listening. The best that we could do, the worst that others don't do. We spent a lot of time traveling around this country, trying to understand what was it that everybody else went out of this country to fight for. There is one thing that all those journeys brought to us. One thing only that this young man of advanced age at 85 showed us. All of that, all of those animosities, all of those battles gave us only one single weapon, our Constitution, the Constitution of the Republic of Namibia. I thought I was the only one who could remember articles. That fisherman just remembers so many sections that I can't even remember. Yes, we were constituted as a republic, founded on the principles of democracy, rule of law, and justice. We were created as a republic where all power is vested in the people of Namibia. But we realized not all power is vested in the people of Namibia. We were given a constitution so that we've got the freedom to assemble peacefully without arms, given a constitution to be able to form and join political parties in order for us to participate in the composition and in the peaceful activities of politics to influence the composition and policies of government. This is the reason why we are here today. We are here today because we decided that the journey that was traveled is not the journey that delivered the prosperity so much talked about. It's not us who said they failed. Across a few 5,000 meters away, when the ship was sinking with the mast only showing, a big bubble came up, a bubble of post-mortem. Wonder what killed it. As that bubble travels over the ripples of the ocean, one wonders what oceanic grave that was. It was still a post-mortem, but we don't know what killed it. And when the vacuum that Bishop Katenda talked about here has been created, we just didn't move in. We decided that we will march in. We will march in with determination to ensure that the dignity of our people is restored. We will march with a determination that will ensure that what emerges from here is no longer none of your business, but it will be the business of our people. Politics is about the state, and the state is about the people. And if you are not here to serve the people, you are in the wrong forum. If you have marched all those distances to come to this part of this country, from Erongo, albeit Omaruru and Karibe, from Karas, from Ohangwena, from Harda, Pomaheke, Ochodo Njupa, including Komas, Oshana, Umsati, Oshikoto, and Ohangwena, Zambezi, Kabango, East and West, and Kunene. Whatever the journey was, your journey must be a journey of determination. Because here, there will be no sleepers. Here, there will be a hard work to try and undo the injustices of the past 30 years that has been inflicted upon the people of Namibia. That's not why those soldiers march in the bushes with their boots on. Many of our freedom fighters today find themselves living in shacks. Is that what they fought for? Many of our freedom fighters still don't have a house. When we were marching last year, we were promising everyone else a house. There were houses built, yet no one could inhabit them. Now they become inhabitable. What is it that brings us together then today? In order for us to constitute that very element of societal function, a political party, a political movement of the people that will be able to determine how we'll be governed in the future. All of us came from somewhere. There are people who have come from different political parties. Even from one of the oldest political parties who would all be here as guests. They were once students that only thought about how best can we get our lives out of this situation. Many of them left as early as 1952, when Brumba Kerina at the age of 19 was sent by Hosea Kutako to go and represent us in the United Nations with Kodongwidi, later on to be joined by Comrade Sam Nujoma. Yes, the Commander-in-Chief of the People's Liberation Army of Namibia that marched together with everybody else to a negotiated settlement that brought about our independence. There were many young people that sacrificed their youth just as much as you are about to do so in order for you to realize the future that your generation and the generations to come will be truly proud of. But if you don't commit yourself to making sure that this time you save the people, you'll just be repeating the same. Don't come here if you think that becoming a local authority councillor or regional authority councillor or one day going to parliament is a key to go and become rich. When you look at the assets that has been declared, so much land, so much wealth accumulated by so few in a short period of time, yet so many people are suffering in the villages, that they are suffering in the informal settlements. 2 weeks ago, I was in Dongalinen, and I saw young boys and young girls traveling up to 5 kilos to get fresh water. Yet we've got pictures from areas such as Ohangwena with people drinking water still from the hills. Yet we say we are independent. Independent for what? In the last 5 years, I spent some time traveling around this beautiful country of ours, across the valleys and the hills, into the open spaces of the south, where Hendrik Witbooi once laid dying and said, "Children, now you can go on. It's me they wanted." I asked one question through all those journeys from a lot of people: what did independence meant to you? It meant a lot of things to a lot of people. It meant an ugly acquisition of wealth to some. But to the majority of our people, 90% still only occupy 10% of our land. Many of our people still don't have proper education. They don't have enough facilities for their education. Go down to Kavango West. Go down to Ochimuhaka, 60 kilos from Rakana and 60 kilos from Epupa, and look at the tents that these children are supposed to be gaining their education. Go down to Makaravan East in Katima. Go down to Dama in Rundu. Twaloloka was and Twaloloka will continue to be. But when we were telling the people in Walvis Bay, bring the fire brigade closer because one day it will catch fire and much will perish, they didn't listen. When I traveled this country, I spoke to too many people. Over the years, they were accepting that yes, independence came. But as time went by, they realized that the most formidable organization that supposedly brought us independence, it was no more formidable to look after them. What then has become of a hollow vessel? There are still some of those clinging on to the brand. It's like holding on to a Coca Cola bottle that you enjoyed, that you got addicted to. But what you don't realize, there's no more Coca Cola inside. There's tombo. There's tombo inside. The values and the principles that we once stood for no longer exist. The values of democracy, solidarity, freedom, social justice, and progress are no longer practiced. What then do you have as you are still holding on to that brand? What future do you prepare your children to enjoy one day as you are holding on to that brand? They have got this saying in Oshiwambo which says that whatever you do to a heart in the forest, in the outside, it will always gather dust. whatever you do, when values have been trampled upon, when the principles that resulted in so many people sacrificing their lives in the belief that a future worth living shall be created out of this, when that all vanishes, then you need to stand up, men and women of the land of the brave, and say, enough is enough. You will have to stand up, because one day your children will find pride in your actions. You will be called names. They called me Kanjafa. They even said that I've got only one suit and one shirt. You will be called names. Much of debt will be thrown at you. But you need to remain focused, because it's not the destination that matters. It's every step that you take to the destination that matters. When we now look at what has happened to what was most formidable, it is a disgrace. It's no longer the movement that was suffering for the masses. It's no longer that movement that was looking for emancipation of everyone. It's no longer the vanguard of the working class. We've heard how the fishermen has been treated over the 5 years. 26 of them perished, died, frustrated. And yet, there were people glorifying the gains they received from those who died. It's no longer the movement that was once a revolutionary, that was seen by us as young people from the 70s onward as the only answer to bring about independence for our country. It is now being hijacked by those that believe that the masses no longer exist. Once you deviate even an inch from your principles, just as someone deviated on the 6th of October 2017, once you deviate and you throw away the principles that binds you together, once you start dividing the people, your hope of leading a nation united fades away. You will become a drum that is rumbling every time you are told the truth. Every time the people march to you to tell you their pain, you no longer see it. You deviated from the very principle of solidarity and believing in what the people have told you. You are no longer the leader, but the dictator that has transformed himself from a democratic cross on the ballot paper to one which says that it is not me. It's not about you. The I bit, the my bit has changed from when we used to be the we. And that is the dangers. When in October that little dangerous autocratic tendencies started emerging, these four are the people I want to lead with. That's when democracy was thrown out of the window. The ship started sinking. That was the time. After the 5 years of accumulation of what Namibia truly is, that was the time that defined that something else needs to be done. That was the force that led to me authoring in June 2018 the independent presidential candidacy. Not for me. Brought it to the attention of one, two, until the third said, not for me, you take it on. We had only 3 weeks to organize that campaign last year. And people started saying who was supporting me. Do you know where I was when we were marching? I was in front. I didn't look behind. I didn't say anything. The only thing I did is clothe you in the banner of liberty. Until they started saying that he's using the Namibian flag. I thought it was the pride of every patriot to wear the flag. It was at that time that it was realized that once you clothe the people with a sense of patriotism, you conquered the dictator's tendencies to suppress them. Only then did we realize that the people were not following Dr. Itula, they were not following me. I was only the face of change. They were trying to protect their banner of liberty. It was that banner that led so many men and women into battle so that we can gain that freedom. The freedom we today are utilizing to compose ourselves and to constitute ourselves as a free people in a free country, forming our own movement to ensure that we serve the people. That's why when I'm saying, Patriots, you will say, we shall never surrender. Never. Patriots, we shall never surrender. Patriots, we shall never surrender. And when I say the second time, patriot, you shall say, we shall save our people. Patriots, we shall save our people. Patriots, we shall save our people. And when I on the third time say patriot, you say, forward. Patriots! Forward. Patriots! Forward. And when I say patriots the fourth time, you say march! Patriots! March! Patriots! March! Patriots, the march to victory will be very difficult. We do recall the words of Comrade Toivoya Toivo when he said that the struggle will be long and bitter, but I am sure my people will wage the struggle whatever the cost. But he was conscious at the trial in Pretoria when he also said, and I quote, I have come to know that our people cannot expect progress as a gift from anyone. Progress is something we shall have to struggle and work for. And I believe that the only way we shall be able and fit to secure that progress is to learn from our own experiences and our own mistakes. Have we learned? That was in 1968. In 2013, he came to say, and I quote, the unity of our people is the most important precondition to obtain the goals that we have set for ourselves. We must cherish this unity and nurture it. This means that tribalism has no place in our society. We are Namibians first and should not allow ourselves to be divided. The unity of our people also requires that we wage war against the vast gap between the few rich and the masses of the poor among our people. The shameful income inequality that exists in Namibia today undermines the dignity for which we struggled, and this is the major obstacle to achieving our aspirations. This should be the central and daily preoccupation of our political leaders and of the leaders and members of our institutions, of our private sector, and of civil society. We cannot maintain and nurture unity if we permit inequality to foster. I thought that was Harambe. Trying to ensure we don't see each other, and yet failing to understand that we've got means in technology to march on. That unity that Yatoivo has spoken came out of an awakening of what was taking place home, inside Swapo. The divisions that has existed, even when he was alive. When you are diverse, you must cherish that. We came from all the regions in our diversity, but we celebrate our unity of purpose. It is not the diversity that will divide us, but the unity so that we can exercise our rights and our freedoms. But what happened is this, that there was no longer a sense of belonging. All the values were being trampled on. Why then should they be looking at you and calling you names? And let me warn you, you'll soon be called, as they say, Noshuambo, Ongudio Pirameni. What did you turn your back against? You didn't turn your back against anything. You turned your back against the Constitution and the weapon that you deserve to utilize. That's what you've done. It is them that turned their back against the people of our nation. Therefore, when you march ahead, remember in the glory of the days to come, you will be proud that you decided to follow the constitutional provisions that are your weapons to reach the freedoms and the rights that you so deserve. When we come together today, it's a journey that we traveled with many of my comrades. Some of them are no longer here, but it's a journey that I traveled with a lot of Patriots now. Patriots Kangulu are locked out in Walvis Bay, but he keep on marching. It doesn't matter where he is, he's still commanding from there. And as we emerged, we are hoping that we will emerge into a movement that is truly grassroots. All of you here as leaders must remember one thing only. You are not here to constitute yourself in a movement that disregards honesty, integrity, dignity, and the rule of law. You are not in a movement that is going to try and tarnish the images and the personalities of any one, politician or not. You are not here to try and belittle anybody for the wrong they have done. Respect their dignity as human beings, despise what they do to the people of Namibia. This will be a movement of principled cadres that will be fight truly for the benefit of the people of Namibia. When we emerge from this beautiful place of safari, hopefully we'll still be 250. I see you were all sleeping when the news started coming out. Nonetheless, when we emerge, we'll emerge with a mandate now to speak for our people. Many people have been asking, where is Dr. Itula? Why is he not saying anything? I had no mandate, just a simple citizen. We all had no mandate. But when the people said we need a political home, you called us out to go and vote. Over 300 of those who were allocated, we don't know, came out to vote. Could we possibly leave them out in the open with no political home? No. When we asked them, how old are you? What do you want? They said they wanted a political home. We listened to our people. And that's why, with a few 6 people up there, we decided that it's best, the time is right to form a political home. Of course, everybody will say, how different are you going to be to the others? Bishop Katenda just told us, this is our time. We are different because this is our time. We are different because we are going to be emerging as a formidable political force in this land of the brave. We are going to be different because we will really truly serve our people. And until our people are satisfied, we cannot start serving ourselves. If we cannot look after our people, we fail. We cannot look after ourselves. They failed. Not my words. Not my words. Twice. Harambee Prosperity Plan was a failure. And now, when a leader starts blaming a party that is leading that it failed, it is not the party that failed, it is the leadership. And if you are the leader of a nation and you acknowledge failure, there's only one route: resign. The mandate you received from the people, you failed it. You acknowledge it yourself. If you don't go, let's meet at the ballot. This time, there is no EV machine. This time, there there will be a different force. It's not just Itula alone that you have to contend with. You have to contend with 14 regions of the independent Patriots for change. You will have to contend to a people determined to resolve the sufferings of their people, black and white, irrespective of where you came from. Whether you came from the door strikers, it's time that we look forward and say, yes, that was our history. We'll never deny it. But from now onward, we'll have to march together as a united people in this demarcation of Namibia. As we go out of here today, we'll go out having actually founded the principles which will govern us. I believe that we will maturely interact, debate issues, and we will be an organization that will debate issues. We will be an organization that will not be looking at who you are, what you are, but what you say. We will not care whether what was once an honorable house became a hooligan house. Whatever they call each other there, do not mimic them. Concentrate on the issues. As we seek to debate our constitution in the coming hours of tomorrow, we will do so conscious of only one thing: reasoning. Present your reason. Ensure you understand what you are saying first of all before you try to impress upon the others. It's not the others' impression that makes you a better person. It's what you believe in yourself that makes you a better person. When you believe that you are strong, you can radiate that strength out to another patriot. If we are in unison, we will not spend a lot of time on the Constitution. We have sent it out on Monday deliberately. But a number of other people who are not here, who are not in the patriotic ship, they are now busy singing with that. That was deliberate. Keep them busy whilst we are marching and ensuring that we have got the grassroots that we will flout. When we look into that constitution, when we look into the aims and objectives of those constitutions, let's not only read them as words, but let's look at them as an encouragement of what we, in action objectively, will be delivering to the people of this country. When we come to the final conclusion of determining whether we will bind ourselves with that constitution as patriots, then we'll abide by it. We'll take an oath to ensure that we truly will represent our people, guided only by those principles and aims and objectives in that constitution. We shall differ, we shall argue, but we will never shout. We are too mature for that. That's not what our people want us to be. They don't want a boxing match in this chamber. They don't want people calling each other IDIOT. I haven't gone to school enough to see what that means. IDIOT. We will debate, and I'll encourage all of you to open your minds up to reasoning. I want you to close that ugly door of the emotional mind, which creates the anger, the hate, and the fear, and opens the action, and you say, oh my God, what have I said? You need to engage your reasoning mind to understand precisely what is said. Don't concentrate on the word. Concentrate the words in the context of the sentence, so that you understand what you are reading. And as soon as we come out of that, we will then look who is best qualified to lead us. But those leaders are not leaders. They are only first among equals. We shall be equal because we will believe in collectivity. We will be able to rely on everybody to understand that when we take a decision as a collective force, that decision is to be executed equally by all of us with the same efficiency and effectiveness. The word sorry for not doing your job will not exist. The word mission accomplished is the one that we'll be seeking every time you are given a task. But as you come from those distances, consider yourself honored. But let those that stayed behind not feel left out. It's forces outside our own control that dictated who comes here. But let them find the pride that truly in Article 17, we are freely representing. We have chosen to come here as representatives, not direct participants in this event as individuals. We will collectively come together into a single voice that will define us, define our journey, define what we will do for the people of Namibia, and ensure that when November comes, we would have captured the second chamber. Would have been the second government in the second chamber. Would have been the ones that is running the local authorities in this expanse of our land. But then, remember that you are there and will be there to serve the people first. Patriots, I know we've had a long time around here. Many of us don't know each other. We still maintain that we will be able to interact and start to know each other, because the task of tomorrow will be a task cool-headedly that we'll have to employ our minds to determine who our leaders will be. A few of us came together. We have traveled around the breadth of this country and look at what is meritorious and what is the qualities that we are looking for. Remember, every day that there is an expectant mother, the protection of the unborn is paramount. Just as much as the chicken makes a sound and all the chicks goes underneath, we'll need to make sure that that baby IPC is well protected. We will know that there will be those, perhaps amongst us, with diverse intentions to strangle the baby before it's even born. And as a consequence of that, we will have to protect it. We will have to protect it honoring the Namibian Constitution, honoring the freedom of choice that our people have fought for us, and honoring that we as Namibians have got the right to participate in political activities. And everyone amongst us here will have that right eventually. But at the beginning, you'll have to make sure that that baby is protected, or else it will die before it could even crawl. And as a consequence of that, I believe that you'll have a cool mind that will determine exactly how we emerge tomorrow and how we emerge on Sunday. And I believe that as we have sent out the message to all the regions, for all our commanders that has remained in the regions, that they will be taking the lead and lead our people into victory as we give birth to the IPC that will truly liberate this country from the yokes of oppression. And with these words, I should perhaps now merge into making us understand what our symbols are. The flag is the one biggest secret that stayed for the past 4 months amongst 6 people. And when it was designed, we had to think really hard. What was it that we were doing? Everybody else was following the phenomenon. The phenomenon is now the transition into the political movement. That transition has to be smooth. And we had to think what kind of flag will be so close to the patriotic banner of liberty. And that's why that flag that will be coming soon, I understand I'm supposed to be unveiling it, is somewhere here. Can I get somebody to come and stand next to me, and then we'll unveil this, and I'll explain what it means. You can already